Meet Darrell, a person who is blind.
My name is Darrell Vickers. I'm from Washington, Missouri. I am retired. My whole background before I retired was information technology, and I do a lot of volunteer work now for Missouri Council of the Blind. Computer field, I was a network engineer. I worked with small schools, predominantly and small businesses, to not so much on fixing their computers, but on their infrastructure. Network and file sharing and that type of work.
Tell us about your disability and the assistive technology you use.
Well, I am right now, the only thing I have left as far as eyesight is some light perception. So I have to use the technology I use the most are screen readers. On iPhones, they call it VoiceOver. On Android, they call it TalkBack. But mainly everything that you would see on the screen, the computer reads that out loud to me. As far as websites, I use a screen reader called JAWS. Another one is called NVDA. They will read whatever text is on the screen, and typically they will read it in the way that I ask it to. So I can change things around so that pages read easier for me.
How does a screen reader read a website?
The screen reader will actually take that whole page and stick it into a virtual buffer, and then it switches everything around so that the menus will read first and then the actual text, and you can skip past that. Otherwise, when you're reading down the page, you'll get a link and then text and then a link and then text. So that a lot of that is controlled by the screen reader itself.
What barriers have you experienced on a website?
As things change rapidly and web pages change rapidly. So if I went to a site last week or last month and I go to that same site, it may be completely different this time. But the only problems that really come up is in forms. A lot of times when we have to go online and we have to fill out a form or an application or something like that, if the forms are not labeled and laid out properly, you don't always know that what you're typing in the right information in the right field. So for example, if it said, sometimes I'll go there and it'll say name, last name, first name, but then when you get to the actual box where you're going to type, there's nothing there that tells me, which name did it want. And sometimes like I said, that forms are labeled. If you use label tags or you can use placeholders, then all that becomes easier. Pop-ups to a page that lays over another page. And sometimes those pop-ups the screen reader won't pick it up at all. So you'll hit something that says sign up, you'll hit it, and then all of a sudden there is nothing there for you to sign up and you're wondering where it went.
How does an accessibility barrier prevent you from completing an online task?
Case scenario, if I can't complete a task on the website, is that I have to have some sighted assistance. Sometimes it's just a matter of them finding the button that gets the whole thing started. If you have a button, let's say, that says register, if that button is not properly labeled, I never find it to actually press it to start the registration process. I have found that I can't simply use one web browser. A site that won't work in IE, Internet Explorer, may be more accessible in Firefox or Chrome, or vice versa. There are multiple screen readers on the market, and they're all the same, and yet they're all a little bit different. Sometimes I have to use Firefox with a program called NVDA, versus what I normally use all the time would be Firefox or Chrome with JAWS. So it's just a matter of sometimes finding out which combination works for that particular site. Most typical users, I'm different, would not be using 2 or 3 different screen readers and 3 different browsers. They'll have a difficulty enough just learning one. I just happen to do it because it's been my background for 40 years. But, if everything is done, if you follow best practices and everything is consistent, it won't matter which browser they're using.
How can design of websites be improved?
Website developers, if they follow best practices and take accessibility in mind from the beginning and not as an afterthought, it all becomes much easier. Building in accessibility is actually not hard at all, but you just have to be aware of it before you start.
Final thought?
Accessible design matters.
To learn more, watch the other AT user videos in this series. You can see more AT user videos by visiting our YouTube channel, Missouri AT. Thank you, Darrell, our AT user in this video, www.at.mo.gov.